Good morning, everybody. How's everybody doing today? Happy Mother's Day. Welcome to the Temple of the Living God here in St. Petersburg, Florida, and we're happy to have you. And I'm going to do a song written by probably the greatest songwriter of all time, Mr. Bob Dylan. This is a song that he wrote for the mother of all of us, and I just like to say the last line of the song is, "If I could turn back the clock to when God and her were born, Karmene, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm." So just to get you into the mood. This goes. 'Twas in another lifetime, one of toil and blood. Blackness was a virtue and the road was full of mud. I came in from the wilderness, a creature void of form. Karmene, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. This way again, you can rest assured that I'll always do my best for her, and then I give my word. In a world of steel like death and men who are fighting to be warm, Karmene, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Not a word was spoke between us. There was little risk involved, 'cause everything up to that point had been left unresolved. Try imagining a place where it's always safe and warm. Karmene, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now I'm burned out from exhaustion, and I'm buried in the hail, poisoned in the bushes and blown out on the trail, hunted like a crocodile and ravaged in the corn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Suddenly I turned around, and she was standing there with silver bracelets on her wrists and flowers in her hair. She walked up to me so gracefully, she took my crown of thorns, and then she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. There's a wall between us, and something there's been lost. I took too much for granted, and I got my signals crossed, just to think that it all began on that long forgotten morn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Now the deputy walks on hard nails, and the preacher rides a mount. Nothing really matters much, it's doom alone that counts. And the one-eyed undertaker, he blows a feud on horn. Karmene, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. her newborn babies wailing like a mourning dove. An old man with broken teeth, stranded without love. Did I understand your question, man? Is it hopeless and forlorn? Karmene, she said, I gave you shelter from the storm. In a little hilltop village, they gambled for my clothes. I bargained for salvation, and they gave me a legal dose. I offered up my innocence, I got repaid with scorn. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm. Living in a foreign country, and I'm bound across the line. Beauty walks a razor's edge, someday I'll make her mine. If I could only turn back the clock to when God and her were born. Come in, she said, I'll give you shelter from the storm.
And it's entitled, Blessing for Mothers. And I quote, I bless all mothers with thoughts of gratitude. There's nothing quite like a mother's love, so nurturing, caring, and warm. Today I bless the women in my life who express this love in all that they do. Whether it's the woman who raised me, or any of the women that I know who so generously shared a mother's love, I have felt the care of God through their tender touch and encouraging words. Over the years, I have grown strong and confident under their kind direction and have relied upon their wisdom. The divine feminine flourishes on earth in the loving words and caring hands of mothers and all those who share a mother's love. I bless them and pray that they know the love of God as they have shared it so generously with me. And from 2 Kings 4, verse 30, then the mother of the child said, as the Lord lives and as you yourself live, I will not leave without you. And so it is. And before we hear from Carol and the Goodfellows, I'd like to make mention that, of course, Lynne Forrest as our speaker today. We are so grateful to have her once again here on the platform, sharing her wisdom and her love. And her talk title is To Know Me is to Love Me. Yeah. And so let us now enjoy music by Carol and the Goodfellows.
No, you. Anyway, hey. So this is a great song. So I was going to let her introduce it. We're just going to introduce it as we sing it. So enjoy. Go ahead. It's called God Made Woman.
Put your hands together on this one too.
On the first day, he made heaven and earth. Then he split the night from the day. He put the sun in the sky and taught the birds to fly. And the oceans had to make some waves. He made a big, strong man to work the land, but he wasn't having any fun.
When God made woman, he knew his work was done, yeah.
Right?
Yeah, he made a woman, nothing's ever been the same. He made woman sweeter than an apple, but wilder than a hurricane. He took the heart of a lion, face of an angel,
was a great life there in a paradise until we ran into that snake. When you think with your head instead of your heart, well, you know you're bound to make a few mistakes.
You know, when things went wrong, she just got stronger. She learned to drive her demons away. God made woman,
yeah,
for heaven's sake, yeah. Yeah, he made woman, nothing's ever been the same. Yeah, he made woman, sweeter than an apple, wilder than a hurricane. He took the heart of a lion, face of an angel, and the heat of 100 suns. Because the world needs love,
God made
woman. Yeah. He made woman, nothing's ever been the same. Yeah, he made woman, sweeter than an apple, wilder than a hurricane. He took the heart of a lion, face of an angel, and the heat of 100 suns. Because the world needs love,
God made woman.
yeah, because the world needs love,
God made a
woman. Because the world needs love,
God made mothers.
Alex Garrido on keyboard, Daniel, and myself.
Right. Wow. And I'm a woman, so that's the first thing I got going for me, right? Today. Oh, my goodness gracious. Happy Mother's Day to all of you. You know, one of the things in order to bring love into the world, and that is to love the world the way a mother loves a child, whether you're male or female, that could apply, right? Because we're just busy going around judging, you know, because they don't look like us, they don't talk like us, they don't think like us, and they certainly don't agree with us. And so, you know, how could I love them? But think about how a mother would love that person, right? Yeah, it doesn't much matter what you do. You just deserve to be loved because you are, right? So, glad to be here today. The title of my talk about loving me, well, I'm not just talking about me, I'm talking about you, but also I think I would put a question mark after that. You know, to know me is to love me, right? You know, so again, talking about that. But also, you know what I've found? I've spent years and years, I don't even know, all my life, since I was a youngster, trying to figure out who I was, thinking that was the way to love me better, is if I could just figure me out. And you know what? I found that whatever was predominant in my thoughts was who I saw myself as being. It's who I acted like, it's who I felt like, and so therefore it was who I masqueraded as being. You know, I am whatever it is. But in the background, the more I would get to know me, the more I would see things about me that I didn't find so lovable, you know, that were hard to accept, downright hard to accept. Things about me that if you knew, you wouldn't like me, and that's for sure, especially in this world where there's, you know, a finite list of characteristics you got to have if you're going to be loved. And, you know, I didn't have some of those. And isn't it interesting that, I don't know if you're like me, but the way it is for me is that whatever it is, I can have a, 9 or 10 things on my, pretty good list. You know, I've got this, I'm doing this. But then there will just be those 1 or 2 things that I just cannot accept about me. And so I don't find me very lovable. because I'm walking around thinking that I'm going to get found out or something, you know? It's crazy, right? But can you relate? How many of you can relate to that, yeah? So here's the thing, you know what I'm beginning to discover? It's not about getting to know who I am. That is often a trap that backfires. It's not about that. What if it's about loving me no matter who I am? What if my job, my role is not so much to figure out who I am, but it is to let go of who I think I am. Now listen to that, think I am. Because you know, here's the way it works. If I think it, I will feel as if it's true. That emotion, that same frequency of thought I'm having about me is going to be the frequency of my emotional output. And it's going to affect the way I act. So when I believe something about me, I will feel as if it's true, and I will act as if it's true. And when I believe it's true, I will feel and act in ways that invite from you a response that proves me right about me. For instance, if I'm walking around believing that I'm not very lovable because I'm controlling, I'm just controlling. That's just, I just can't seem to control my controlling. Trying really hard. And so I'm going to feel as if that's true. I'm going to feel like controlling. I'm going to be, playing the part of someone who controls. And I'm going to need to figure out why you're not doing what I think you should be doing because, I'm like that. And I'm going to feel the feelings that go with that. And then I'm going to start controlling you. I'm going to start acting, controlling. And you're going to come back with, you're so controlling. And then I've just been reinforced. Yeah, I know. I try so hard not to be. But I am, bad me. Or the opposite, which is I defend my right to be controlling because you're the way you are. Right? Because that's the other part of this thing that we do when we are busy trying to figure ourselves out. We're busy trying to figure you out. And we have a pretty strong idea of who you ought to be. Right? And we do a whole lot of blaming. Have you noticed that? When I put you on my list of them, there's me and you, and there's we and they. And when I put you on the list of you're one of them, then you go down in my sense, right away. I start thinking disparaging thoughts about you. And then how am I going to act around you? So when you come around, it's going to be like, maybe I won't speak to you, maybe, so now so what are you perceiving? Yeah? Do you feel loved, included, touched? Yeah? And it's so difficult for us as humans to not do that, to not do that. And here's the thing, and so really the goal, I've decided, and there is recent scientific verification that this is actually true, and that is that the key is to creating the life that you want to have is to give up your attachment to who you are. And actually, the goal is to become nobody. And I don't mean I'm just nobody. I mean, I'm nobody going nowhere. It's like a client said to me once after she'd worked with me some time. She'd been clinically depressed when she came to see me. She was stuck. She was in a pit of despair, suicidal. And when she began to practice accepting herself where she was and beginning to ask herself, instead of what's wrong with me, why do I do that? She began to ask herself, well, what if this weren't a problem? That I am the way I am. How might it be? What is it showing me? What is it teaching me? How can I grow from this? And to reach a place, really, where she could begin to step out of being who she was. This is the role of meditation, frankly. It's what we really, the goal of meditation is to move into a place where there's no thought, you know? Tolle talks a lot about this. Eckhart Tolle talks a lot about no thought and reaching a place where there's no thought. Did you know that's actually a legitimate place? And it's a place that you can move into through meditation. And through meditation, we move into a space which is no place, where there is no time, where there is no thing. And so therefore nothing to judge, just be. And when we clear a space for nothing, then all of a sudden we have a space for whatever you would like it to be, which is another important question. How would I like it to be? How would I like to feel right now? Remembering, when I believe what I think it, I feel it, I act as if it's true, I become it. That's just the way it works. And so with meditation, I drop the who I am, and I become space. I become spacious. And then what happens is that leaves a space to say, how would I like to feel? Well, I want to feel peaceful. I want to feel love. I want to feel loved. Then it's sort of like, well, how is that true? Where can I look for the thoughts that bring that feeling? It's like, oh, so it's interesting because, we actually do this, all of us. We think, that's challenging. That's way hard, Lynne. I don't know about that whole, how do I give up? Well, yeah. But that's something actually we do every night when we go to bed. Think about, like, I don't know about you, I get in bed, I lay on my side. I remember when my kids were little, I would say to them, fold your hands and hold your hands like this. And as a way to still the mind, begin to still the body. And then what happens? So you move from the beta brain wave, which is busy, and it's very externally focused. It's thinking about this or that, or what needs to be different, and how that shouldn't be like that, and right? And then as you calm yourself, you get quieter. And then you begin to move into the alpha, they say, brainwave, where it gets less noisy, there's less thoughts, and more imagery, more imagination begins to play. Did you know the imagination is the room of creation within us? So we let go of this idea of trying to figure out who we are because we're going to be whoever it is we're thinking, feeling, and acting like anyway. And so you've got a wide berth here. If you can just recognize that, but see, we get addicted. We get addicted to the idea, the limited idea of who we are. And then we just keep feeling and acting in ways that verify it and make it stronger. We get even more addicted to it. So to say, well, what if that wasn't a problem? What if I was who I want to be? Who would that be? What if this weren't a problem? And so then what happens is we go to sleep. So now we're in the alpha. Then we begin to go into delta. And delta is when we go into sleep, the brain wave. But it's when the body goes to sleep. It's sort of like when you start going to sleep and you begin to drool and, because you're leaving your body, right? It's quiet. It's shutting down. Now, the goal and what meditation does is it picks up right there and takes you into a higher range, to gamma, to a place where now you can create. And the body's asleep, but the mind is still awake. That's what meditation is. You go into a physical rest, but mentally, and again, you can only go into that high range by thinking thoughts of peace, it's not even thoughts, really, guys. It's just you begin to have an image. You just begin to have a show go on in your mind. And any of you can relate to this, where you get to that, what's it called? Wait, it's called dreaming. Dreaming. Yeah. And that's why lucid dreaming is such a potent thing to practice. Because with lucid dreaming, you get better and better at moving into the space, dreaming the life you want to have, envisioning it. So you just begin to actually work with your physiology. You get quiet. You take a quiet time. And this is how it is you grow to love yourself better. It's how it is that you can love others. Think about this. What if you weren't a problem? Like, what if you're doing that controlling thing that I hate so much about me? Now I see it in you and blame you for it because, I must have learned it from you, or, you're the one that's making me do it, or something, right? Because this is what we do. Yeah. So, but what if I see what you're doing? It's not that I deny that you're into control mode. I just don't make it a problem. I don't need to make that something bad or wrong. Instead, I could say, what are you mirroring to me about me? Oh, I'm controlling. Oh, like right now, I'm trying to control how controlling you are. Right? This is the way it works. And so what we're doing here is tapping into universal law. And universal law says, think it, feel it, act it, become it. That's just the way it works. And it says, what you see in the world, and especially if you have a reaction to it, if it pushes your button, if it gets under your skin, guess who that's for? Yeah, you guessed it, you. It's not them. It's the world showing you where it is in you that you're out of alignment with you. Out of a place where you're not loving you. Yeah. And so, for peace, to really come into peace, we must accept ourselves. And so when I see you and you're just really, ticking me off, and I would never act like that. Oh, except now I'm acting that way towards you. Right? I mean, this is just very human of you, because it's the way humans work. But when we can see it, we can make it conscious, we can actually work with it. We can actually use it as grist for the mill of transformation. And I don't know, I think that's what we're here to do. I'm really not here to be the one to decide how the rest of the world should act. That is, for one thing, it makes me very miserable because you all do not cooperate. And that's mostly because you look a lot like me. Amen. And what you're showing me, oh yeah, right? Yeah. And that ain't bad. What if that's not a problem? What if that's a process? What if I get to make conscious what it is I'm thinking, feeling, reacting out of? This is how we expand our consciousness. So when we use the world around us, and we use the things especially that trigger us, then we use it to find it in us and love me there. Because you know what happens when I love? Do you know why love is so potent? Because it's transformative. Because think about it a minute. So if I'm loving me, if I'm accepting me where I am, it creates space. Now I'm not needing to, wrangle with it and push it, because whatever, another universal law, whatever you focus on gets bigger. So if I'm focusing on how that's a problem, then what's growing? The problem. But as soon as I can step back and just give permission for me to be where I am, to even say to myself, little tyrant that's kind of showing up in my psyche out, because I see it out here. What a tyrant that is. Oh my gosh, I'm such a tyrant with me. May not be with you. I may be successfully, keeping that under wraps when you're around. But when I get alone with me, I am not kind or can be. But when I can come in and say, well, what if that were a part of the process? What if I'm getting an opportunity to see? And not to whack away at it like that's going to somehow fix something. No, it just grows it gets bigger. But if I accept it, acceptance has a way of just goes, dissipates it. This is how we grow. This is how we change. This is the purpose of love. I wish it for you and for me. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Lynne. Thank you for speaking to our hearts and our souls. And for being a reflection for us. Yes, so thank you.
I'm looking pretty good.
So now we're going to move into our time of tithes and offerings. And we invite you to take your tithes and gifts in your hands and bless them as the ushers come forth. And let us pray. Infinite radiant source of life, we give thanks for this opportunity to share from our hearts. We give thanks for the spiritual nourishment we have been fed here today. And as we go forth into the day, we go forth blessing others with that which we have been fed. And we acknowledge that divine love moving in and through each and every one of us, and blesses and multiplies all that we have, all that we give, and all that we receive. And so it is. Amen. And for those of you who are with us online, we invite you to also participate in the tithes and offerings. On the website, which is tlgtemple.org, you can log on there, and there's a donate button there. And if you're on YouTube, then, of course, just go on to the website and participate in sharing as well. I would like to make mention, for those of you who were here for Reverend Zemke's 85th celebration, the sharing that he did that day is available. Some of you had asked for a copy of his remarks, and so we have a number of them. If you are interested in that, you can see me afterwards in the lobby, and I have them for you. Okay? And so now let us close out the service with Carol and the Goodfellows as we listen once again to their wonderful music.
See you guys at 12:30. Come back. We're going to have fun with Moses.
Yes.
Yes. See everybody back in the back classroom. This is the song of the month. Daniel started it out last week. It's called God is My Source. It's call and response for the first two lines, and the rest you can just sing with us.
Amen. Let's do it. God is my source.
God is my source.
God is my power.
God is my power.
God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks.
So I give thanks
for all my blessings.
for all my blessings.
God gives me everything I need.
need.
Sing out, y'all. God is my source.
God is my source.
God is my power.
God is my power.
God gives me everything I need. So I give thanks.
So I give thanks
for all my blessings.
for all my blessings.
God gives me everything I need. Let's talk about love. Love is my source.
Love is my source.
Love is my power.
Love is my power.
Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks.
So I give thanks
for all my blessings.
for all my blessings.
Love gives me everything I need. Love is my source.
Love is my source.
Love is my power.
Love is my power.
Love gives me everything I need. So I give thanks.
So I give thanks
for all my blessings.
for all my blessings.
Love gives me everything I need. Joy. Joy is my source.
Joy is my source.
Joy is my power.
Joy is my power.
Joy gives me everything I need. So I give thanks.
So I give thanks
for all my blessings.
for all my blessings.
Joy gives me everything I need. Yeah, clap your hands. Joy is my source.
Joy is my source.
Joy is my power.
Joy is my power.
Joy is me everything I need. So I give thanks,
So I give thanks
for all my blessings.
for all my blessings.
Joy gives me everything I need. Peace, peace is my joy.
Peace is my source.
Peace is my power.
Peace is my power.
Peace gives me everything I need. So I give thanks,
So I give thanks
for all my blessings.
for all my blessings.
Peace gives me everything I need. One more time. Peace is my source.
Peace is my source.
Peace is my power.
Peace is my power.
Peace gives me everything I need. I hear you, baby. So I give thanks,
So I give thanks
for all my blessings.
for all my blessings.
Peace gives me everything I need. God gives me everything I need. Love gives me everything I need. Joy gives me everything I need. Peace
gives me everything I need.
Nice. Happy Sunday. Happy Mother's Day. Come get a hug in the lobby. We'll see you next week.